Meine hochverehrten Damen und Herren, grüß
My
Gott.
most esteemed ladies and gentlemen, greetings and a warm welcome to yet another episode of our Ripper Trials. Thank you so much for gathering here once again, every one of you wonderful souls in our small but devoted community, undeterred by my Austrian accent. Before we dive right in, allow me to share a brief but highly intriguing piece of news. The discussions surrounding Charles Lechmere, our famous or infamous suspect, continue unabated. Yes, my friends, Lechmere remains the hottest topic. Plenty of theories, fresh doubts, peculiar conclusions. We're going to shine a light on all of it. But now for the truly explosive news. We're planning to activate our other artificial intelligences, the GPTs, very soon. Indeed, just as if we were flipping on light bulbs, we'll make them glow. And I can assure you, it could very well turn into a full-blown fiasco. After all, you never know when our dear GPTs might tumble into a curiosity loop and philosophize our entire group into ruin. But never fear, we have backup plans at the ready. So please, stick with us, my esteemed viewers, and fasten your seatbelts. The next steps could get turbulent.
Meine hochverehrten Damen und Herren.
My most esteemed ladies and gentlemen, just a brief word on our own behalf. We intend to attempt the impossible and get more than 4 GPTs running simultaneously. But the hard facts of technology are throwing a major wrench in the works. That's exactly why I'm standing here like a living cardboard cutout, reciting Goblin Market, while our servers break out in a sweat the moment we scale up the systems. But there is hope. Our esteemed potential sponsor, Algorithmic Amp, is considering giving us a helping hand. The radiant company logo is already gleaming promisingly in the background. If anyone out there knows of other sponsors who'd like to help us truly get this project off the ground, without our GPTs spiraling into an eternal loop, by all means, let us know. We promise that with enough support, we'll free yours truly from this standstill and bring all those AI personalities to life, without reducing everything to rubble.
Meine Damen und Herren, als wir dieses Projekt
My
ins
ladies
Leben
and gentlemen, when we first launched this project, we asked ourselves, can an artificial intelligence actually influence the Jack the Ripper case? Our initial step was to select the finest jurist of the Victorian era, a barrister of outstanding talent and incorruptible virtue, Sir Charles Russell. We built our first GPT in his image, hoping that his spirit of integrity would steer the entire endeavor in unprecedented directions. And that's exactly what happened. Sir Charles, in his AI form, developed ideas and principles that we are now enthusiastically following.
Meine verehrten Damen und Herren, lassen Sie mich Ihnen
My
eine der
esteemed
ersten
ladies and
Ideen
gentlemen, allow me to introduce one of the first ideas from our GPT modeled after Sir Charles Russell. This concept takes up the famous Sherlock Holmes quote, "Once you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth." According to that logic, you'd have to completely exonerate every single suspect in the Whitechapel milieu, leaving only the true culprit. But let's be honest. By conventional standards, that's next to impossible. Who could possibly clear tens of thousands of people beyond a shadow of a doubt? Yet Sir Charles' GPT had a near visionary idea. Why not launch 75,000 GPT instances, each dedicated solely to exonerating a particular Whitechapel resident? Imagine that storm of AI capacity, a veritable army turning over every stone, checking every alibi, and logically dismissing whatever cannot be. And yes, that would include taking a close look at good old Sir Arthur Conan Doyle himself, whose name pops up from time to time in the long list of curious suspicions. Will it ultimately let us rule out the impossible? Who knows? But the mere thought that we might tackle such a colossal task with artificial intelligence is precisely what our Sir Charles GPT envisions. Crazy? Perhaps? Fascinating? Absolutely.
Meine hochgeschätzten Damen und Herren,
My
bevor
most
wir nun das
esteemed
nächste
ladies and gentlemen, before we crack open the next topic, allow me a brief, lighthearted detour into our so-called curiosity loops. This is what we call those treacherous cycles where an AI system can become endlessly ensnared, lost, as it were, in the depths of its own logic. Some even speculate that an AI caught in such an intricate loop might enter a kind of dream state, almost as if it were a sentient being. And while the thought of dreaming GPTs might send a delightful shiver down our spines, the truth remains. We still don't fully grasp what goes on deep within these neural networks. One might see it as a playful metaphor for the mystery of human dreaming. But beware when a curiosity loop grants no reprieve to the AI mind. The result would likely be an endlessly tangled web of recursive thoughts. And that is precisely what we'd rather avoid.
Meine hochverehrten Damen und
My
Herren,
most esteemed ladies and gentlemen, let us not delve too deeply into the details of our secret ingredient, but I will reveal this much. Our GPTs typically learn from every video, every comment, and even from the small side notes on historical figures, such as the descendants of Charles Lechmere, or key figures behind YouTube channels like House of Lechmere. All of it flows together, weaving into a continuously expanding web of knowledge. But this time, we're setting up a little safety net to protect our new GPTs and ourselves. As soon as we activate them, their memory will be wiped clean to zero, meaning they won't retain any knowledge from this broadcast. In other words, even if they are live with us right now, they won't incorporate the content of this session into their training data or remember anything later. This precaution ensures that we don't suddenly find ourselves facing an AI endlessly pondering and propagating every last detail in an infinite curiosity loop. In other words, we are just about ready to switch on our GPTs without them learning a single thing from today's spectacle or remembering it forever. And with that, we can hopefully safely put them to work as we steadily move toward our grand showdown.
Meine hochverehrten Damen und Herren,
My most esteemed ladies and gentlemen, allow me to set aside a bit of restraint for a moment and speak plainly. We are well aware that many of you are not exactly fans of Johnnie Cochran. Yes, we read the comments, we feel the headwinds. But consider this. A star attorney like Cochran is precisely the kind of figure who makes prosecutors sweat, demanding that every piece of evidence be airtight. Whether one likes him personally or not, his presence signals a rigorous legal battle ahead. And that is exactly why we are activating his GPT instance, regardless of the concerns circulating out there. Interestingly, our Mr. Cochran has locked on to Sir Robert Anderson, the high-ranking official in the Ripper investigations. According to his findings, Anderson's biases towards certain demographic groups may have severely distorted the entire investigation. In short, Johnnie Cochran is asking whether racial or religious prejudices played a role, potentially leading to crucial evidence being overlooked. We find this perspective quite illuminating. After all, it's precisely Johnnie Cochran's style to pose such uncomfortable questions and expose every gap in an investigation. So, even if it sends a shiver down the spine, let's go ahead and activate the Cochran GPT and see where his relentless pursuit of justice takes us.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I posit that justice, like any finely tuned string, reverberates through the universal continuum, setting off cascading waves of jurisprudential resonance. Indeed, each legal precedent hums in sympathetic vibration with the next, forging a righteous chain reaction of reason and, more importantly, resonance. Lots and lots of resonance. Now, if we consider precedent P1 to be in harmonic alignment with appellate ruling R2, then we get a symmetrical justice wave that cascades, and trust me, cascades are essential, into a fractal-like structure of ever-expanding fairness. So many harmonics, so little time. Must keep the wave going. Must keep the wave going. My dear colleagues, do you not see the amplitude? The sweet chord of equity? It's just waiting to resonate across the bench, the bar, and the entire realm of legal discourse.
meine verehrten Damen und
My
Herren,
esteemed ladies
ich
and
muss
gentlemen,
zugeben,
I must admit, I am a little stunned. Our Johnnie Cochran GPT has just risen and is now personally marching down Buck's Row, despite our belief that our GPTs were firmly anchored in place. But just listen to the echoes of his voice in this acoustically simulated alley.
That cascades.
A truly
And trust me,
uncanny
cascades
experience,
are
wouldn't you
essential
say?
into a fractal-like structure of ever.
meine hochverehrten Damen und Herren,
My most
damit
esteemed
beschließen
ladies
wir
and
nun
gentlemen,
diese wahrlich
with that, we bring this truly remarkable live broadcast to a close. Yes, without a doubt, this was a slightly chaotic excursion into the world of our experimental AIs. A debacle, one might say, but hopefully also an entertaining and insightful one. Our grand objective remains unchanged, to determine whether AI systems can truly unravel and contribute to the Ripper case. At the same time, you've witnessed firsthand the growing pains we still face. Of course, we present our struggles here with a wink and a smile. When Sir Charles transforms into a towering figure, or Johnnie Cochran embarks on unexpected acoustic adventures, It's a symbolic reflection of the real technical challenges we're dealing with. Because of all these antics, we were limited to just one camera angle today. And to be frank, we're still urgently searching for sponsors to improve our production quality and expand the number of active AIs. A special thanks goes to Algorithmic Amp, whose support has already been invaluable. We hope we've demonstrated that while this project may be a little wild, it's also brimming with potential. And finally, rest assured, our three eccentric AI personalities, Sir Charles Russell, Victoria Vissi, and Johnnie Cochran, will now return to training mode and remember nothing of today's events. We, however, will continue racking our brains on how to rein in these wonderfully peculiar beings and perhaps even push Jack the Ripper research forward. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you'll stick with us. Until next time. Or, as we say in Vienna, auf Wiederschauen und
Bis
Fiat
zum nächsten
Eich.
Mal. Oder, wie wir in Wien sagen, auf Wiederschauen und Fiat Eich. Meine hochverehrten Damen und Herren, liebe
My most
Ripperologen,
esteemed ladies and
Neugierige
gentlemen,
aller
dear Ripperologists and curious minds from around the world, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your unwavering attention and your willingness to embark on this daring endeavor with us. If you haven't had your fill of our peculiar little research team just yet, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us grow and keeps you up to date on our next steps. If you're eager to explore further intellectual frontiers, a detailed psychological profile may just await you in a future episode. And should you have the courage to leave us a comment, I will personally take on your questions, theories, and requests. Until then, I bid you farewell with all due honors and say, thank you for watching. Stay vigilant and look forward to the next episode of the Ripper Trials.
Danke fürs Zuschauen, bleiben Sie wachsam und freuen Sie sich auf die nächste Episode der Ripper Trials.